had written down because I don't have the book.
No,
Now,
is the page number right? One minute. Is the page number 9 wrong, or what you have written is wrong?
what I have written is wrong,
Okay,
naturally.
then you correct it. Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Now, the natural light,
Yes,
that is I,
that
through
is
the
the real
natural
I. Yes,
darkness,
through the natural
experience.
darkness. That means the spirit.
No, I'm just reading whether I have written correctly or not.
Okay, okay. Go
Huh?
ahead. Go ahead.
Now, the natural light, that is I, through the natural darkness, experiences or sees the unnatural darkness.
Go
Through the
ahead.
through the unnatural darkness, experiences or sees unnatural light.
See, in other words, the
That
natural
is,
light, which means the real I,
or
through
God.
the natural darkness, which means the spirit, sees or experiences the unnatural darkness, which means the mind, and through the mind sees the body and the universe.
Yeah, that I have written correctly. But this I was little bit
No,
that
correct. What you have written is correct.
correct.
In
Okay.
other words, it comes like this: natural light, natural darkness. I'll use the word like this: the real I, the
Huh.
spirit, the mind, body, and universe.
Okay.
Got it? That means natural light through the natural darkness, which is the spirit, sees and experiences the mind, and through the unnatural darkness, which is the mind, sees the body and the universe. Got it?
Correct. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome, welcome. Now we go to page number. Okay. Now page number 12 reads like this: in sound sleep, the natural darkness, which means the spirit, sees the natural light, that means the self or the real I, and in the awake state, the same natural darkness, which means the spirit, becomes the unnatural darkness. Here the word is becomes. That means the spirit becomes the mind when the mind starts functioning. Am I making sense? I'll repeat again. The same natural darkness, that is the spirit, becomes, the word is becomes the unnatural darkness, that is the mind. So to say, in the awake state, the spirit and the mind are linked. They are linked together, and the body and the universe exist. The spirit becomes the mind. Whereas in the final stage, when you realize the mind merges with the spirit and sees God all the time. So here what is happening is the spirit becomes the mind and sees spirit, okay, universe. But in the sound sleep state, we'll have to read 2 pages together, or at least some sentence on the 13th page. But in the sound sleep state, the body and the universe do not exist because the mind is merged in the spirit. I will repeat: in the sound sleep state. Sound sleep state means what? No awake state, no dream state. You are in the original state of God, which is called the Paratpar Parabrahma state, or the Vara Ulvara state, or the beyond God state, as per God speaks. In other words, in sound sleep state, we are actually one with God. And because we are one with God, when we get up in the morning, we feel very fresh. We feel refreshed. All right? Okay, okay. So again, I'm repeating this page. If there's any, I don't see any difficulty here, but still I am repeating: in the sound sleep state. Now, what is the sound sleep state? We have seen natural darkness, correct? Natural darkness. You in your chart, you will see natural darkness is equal to sound sleep state. So, in the sound sleep state, we have also said that natural darkness is equal to spirit. That means in the sound sleep state, the spirit sees the self, which means the natural light. But here, this seeing is not a conscious seeing. It's an unconscious seeing. You are not seeing it consciously. And in the awake state means like how we are today, just now. In the awake state, the same natural darkness, that is the spirit, becomes the unnatural darkness, that is the mind. Let us understand only this much, that in the awake state, natural darkness, which is represented by the spirit, becomes, transforms, changes itself into mind, which means working mind, which means experience of the body and the universe and the Maya and all the other experiences. So, in other words, so to say, in the awake state, the spirit and the mind are linked. Right now, our spirit and the mind are joined together, it is linked, right? And the body and the universe exist for us in this particular state of awakefulness or wakefulness. The body and the universe exists, but in the sound sleep state, the body and the universe do not exist. We have all done that. Okay, in the sound sleep state, the body and the universe does not exist because the mind has temporarily stopped or it has kept in abeyance. The mind is merged in the spirit. Any problem here, up to here, so that we can move forward? No problem.
Jai Baba, this is Rakesh.
Yes,
Uh,
Rajesh.
you just mentioned that in the awake state,
Yes.
spirit and mind are both, we are conscious of both spirit and the
No,
mind.
we are not conscious. The spirit becomes the mind, and the spirit and the mind are linked, but we are not conscious of the spirit. We are
Correct,
only conscious of the mind.
correct,
And
correct.
through
This
the
is
mind, we are conscious of the body and the universe and all the Maya and all the experiences connected with that. In the awake state, like how we are awake now, the spirit and the mind have been linked. But in the sound sleep state, what happens is that the your Baba is saying that the mind is merged with the spirit. The mind is merged with the spirit, and therefore there is no experience of the body and the universe.
but
Okay,
I
okay.
mean, do we just accept that the spirit and the mind are linked in the awake state since we don't have the consciousness of that?
See, the basic thing is what Baba says one chapter before is that, or rather in page number 12 only, yes, that the spirit becomes the mind and experiences the body and the universe. In the sound sleep state, the spirit does not
Correct,
experience the body and the universe because spirit can only experience through the medium of the mind. But in
right.
the sound sleep state, the mind merges in the spirit, and
In the
therefore there is no experience of the
of the
body
body,
and the universe. Got it?
right? Correct,
Got it? Fine. Very good. So now we move further. So, in the sound sleep state, the mind is merged in the spirit. Page 13. In the sound sleep state, the mind is merged in the spirit. So, no realization. No realization. Why? Because in order to have realization, the, the mind should not be there at all. But the body and the universe should be there. You see, I will come to that little later. So, here in the sound sleep state, the mind is merged with the spirit and therefore no realization. But if in the awake state, the mind be merged in the spirit, then the universe and the body exist, but the mind does not exist. I, it's a little difficult to, the languaging is such, what Baba is trying to explain is that the spirit through the medium of the mind, experiences the body and the universe when the mind is in the awake state. That means the mind is working. When the mind merges with the spirit and goes into the unconscious state or the sound sleep state, there is no realization. But if the mind is totally stopped, or in what Baba is trying to say, in the awake state, now we are awake, in the awake state, if the mind be merged with the spirit, because one sentence above Baba is saying that in the sound sleep state, the mind is merged with the spirit, and therefore no realization, no God realization. But if in the awake state, like what we are awake now, if the mind be merged in the spirit, then the mind is not there, the mind is finished, it is merged with the spirit, and the body and the universe exist, you see. And then that is the meaning of, see, we have seen before, I'll read this. We have seen before that when the mind exists, the body and the universe exist. That means if the mind in the awake state merges with the spirit, then the mind is extinguished, stopped totally, and the body and the universe exists, then that is God realization. I will repeat, I'll keep on repeating 10 times till all of us get to know. But unfortunately, what is happening is it's spilling over the next page. So I will have to read that simultaneously. That is, when the universe and the body exist, we have seen before that when the universe and the body exists, the mind also exists. In other words, when the mind is in a working state, the body and the universe exist. When the mind is in a not working state, not stopped, not working state, and merged with the spirit, then there is sound sleep state and there is no realization. But here, Baba says, when in the awake state, the mind is merged in the spirit, the universe and the body exist, but the mind does not exist. That is, the mind and the spirit unlinked. And this is realization. That means, what is realization? The mind has merged in the spirit. It is no more linked with the spirit. It will be linked with the spirit as long as the mind has got its separate existence, astitva. Here, the mind is totally annihilated and it has become one with the spirit, and the person is in the awake state. That means the body is there, the universe is there, but the mind is not there. Then that is realization.
But sorry, isn't this a state of deep hypnosis
Isn't
that
this what?
Baba's
Sorry,
a
sorry,
state
sorry.
of deep hypnosis?
Hypnosis.
No. See, in deep hypnosis, what happens is, in deep hypnosis, the mind is still there, but the hypnotist is controlling the subconscious aspect of the mind, and the conscious aspect is totally gone. The consciousness is not there, but the subconscious mind is there. Whereas in this case, in this state, even the subconscious is not there. Am I making sense?
Thank you.
Okay, was that Bobby?
Yes, Cyrus. Thank you so much.
Uh,
When
so in the realized state, does the spirit experience the world and the universe by itself, or it is not experiencing,
Okay,
since the
so
mind is not there?
good question, but I'll have to digress a little bit. In this particular state, when the body and the universe exist, but the mind does not exist, the mind is unlinked from the spirit and has merged into the spirit. The experience of that particular spirit is only I am God. That means it is only experiencing the experience of I am God, and the three attributes of God, which is infinite knowledge, infinite power, and infinite bliss. The body is there, the body is not dropped, but the consciousness is focused not on the body, not on the universe, but I am God state. In the I am God state, which is also called the Aham Brahmasmi state, Anal Hak state, or I am God state. Sorry. And he is, in Baba's terminology, he is a Brahmibhut or a Mazub. That means somebody who is not conscious of the body and the universe, and yet he is having a body and he is living within the universe, but his consciousness is focused on the I am God state. That is the state of Mazubiyat. That means he's a mazub. I'm digressing a little bit. But if that person retains that body, continues to live in the body and in the universe, and gets back the consciousness of the Tribhuvan, that means the mental, the subtle, and the gross. He gets back that consciousness, simultaneously retaining his consciousness of the I am God state. Then he is called a Salik, and he is supposed to be stationed in a framework called Salukiyat. He is in a station of Salukiyat. And if that Salik, after having all the consciousness of all the three planes, and mind you, retaining God consciousness, if he has certain duties to perform towards creation, then he is called a Sadguru or a Kutub or a perfect master. So it is nothing to do with what we are doing right now, but this is just by the by. I'm giving the explanation. So once again, I will just read out what Baba has said in this. 12, 13, 14 we'll read. So in a stretch. So then you will be able to understand. Page number 12. In the sound sleep, the natural darkness, which is the spirit, sees natural light, which is the self. And in the awake state, the same natural darkness, which is the spirit, becomes the unnatural darkness, that is the mind. So to say, in the awake state, the spirit and mind are linked. In the awake state, the spirit and mind are linked, and the body and the universe exist. But in the sound sleep state, the body and the universe do not exist because the mind is merged in the spirit. In other words, because the mind does not exist. It's not that the mind has stopped, but it has merged in the spirit. Then Baba goes on to say, so in the sound sleep state, the mind is merged in the spirit, therefore no realization. The emphasis is on the sound sleep state. The merger is important, but if that merger happens in the awake state, then that is God realization. But here the merging of the mind happens with the spirit in the sound sleep state, and therefore no realization. Then Baba goes on to say, but in the awake state, the mind be merged in the spirit, then the universe and the body exist, but the mind does not exist. We have seen before that when the mind exists, see here what Baba is saying is, okay, we have seen before that when the mind exists, the body and the universe exist. Or when the body and the universe is existing for you, that means you are in a state of wakefulness or in the dream state. That means the mind is in a functioning mode. That means it's a working mind. But here in this case, the body and the universe are existing, but the mind is not existing because the mind has now merged finally, totally, completely, for all time in the spirit. Then that is realization. So I'll read this again. But if in the awake state the mind be merged in the spirit, then the universe and the body exist, but mind does not exist. We have seen before, Baba is explaining like a small, how we explain to small babies, over and over again repetitively. We have seen before that when the mind exists, the body and the universe exist. It is very common sense that when I am sleeping, my body and the universe is there. But for me, it does not exist because I am not conscious of it. But when the mind comes into play, that means when I wake up in the morning, for me, the body and the universe exist. So here Baba says, we have seen before that when the mind exists, the body and the universe exist. That 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 when the universe and the body exist, the mind exists. Both ways he is talking. Correct. But here, now this is important, but here, when in the awake state, the mind is merged in the spirit. In the awake state is important. When in this awake state, the mind, sorry?
So nice.
Yeah.
Very
But
nice.
here, when in the awake state, the mind is merged in the spirit, the universe and the body exist, but the mind does not exist. That is, the mind and spirit unlinked, they have become one. And this is realization. Any question on this up to now? Oh, wow, everybody knows.
Yes, yes, Cyrus uncle.
Yeah, please go ahead, Mayor.
Huh? Where it says on page 12,
Page 12, yes.
sound sleep,
Yeah.
state. These are deep sleep.
Yes.
Deep sleep.
Now, yes, deep sleep or sound sleep.
No dream.
Now, sound sleep or deep sleep means what? It is not even dream, obviously not the awake state where I am. I am because I always am. I am, but the consciousness that I am is not there.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to check that. Thank you.
It is the same exact state of God as explained by Baba in God Speaks, in God State 1. Baba calls it the Paratpar Parbrahma state, or the beyond state of God, or Vara ul Vara state, or Gaheb ul Gaheb state, which means where God exists, but God does not know that He is God. In other words, every single day, when we go into sound sleep state, or as Mayor says, deep sleep state, we are actually, not as if somewhat like, no, we are actually one with God in the Paratpar Parbrahma state. And then when we wake up, we come via the dream mode. The lane is through dream and then to the awake state. In almost all cases, when you come via the dream to the awake state, the mind starts functioning. And when the mind starts functioning, again, the false ego, the working mind, the I, the body, everything comes up. Everything comes up. Okay. So any question now on this, what we have done?
Yeah.
Yeah. Please, anybody?
Can I?
Yes, please go ahead.
I'm Parvez Yabana.
Yes. Bolo ji.
See on page 14.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can I have that? Page 14?
Yes. Yeah.
See, this realization that we are talking about. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
See, in the realization stage, when in awake state, the mind is merged in the spirit. The universe and body exist, but the mind does not exist. Now, this non-existence of mind, is it because of the no sanskaras and everything is that you have realized God?
Absolutely. The mind can only...
So there are no sanskaras over here.
Yes.
Annihilated, yeah.
Yes.
So that means as I understand, that means this is the state of God realization.
Yes, absolutely.
So that means there is no sanskaras and all that was there has been eradicated or removed, annihilated.
See, the most important thing, Parvez, is that mind is like a cubicle. It's a
Yeah.
container,
Yeah.
a crucible in which all our samskaras,
Correct.
all our desires, all our
Yeah.
cravings,
So no
all
desires
our
and no
longings are
needs.
there. Now, when the mind itself is not there, there
Yeah.
is nothing. So you realize God. You become one with God. Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, when we have no desires and we have no needs, that is when the that is when the mind gets annihilated, isn't it?
Right. Absolutely.
Instead of the mind annihilated and the desires and no, it is when you have control over your desires and your actions or whatever needs, when you don't
Correct.
have that,
Correct.
that is at the time that mind is annihilated. That's what you mean. I hope
Absolutely.
I'm right.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
But
is in the awake stage that you are conscious that yes, I have realized God.
you are conscious that I am God.
Yes, God
That's all.
realization.
You are
Yes.
You are not conscious of the universe.
Yes,
You
very
are
true.
not
Very
conscious,
true.
although you are in the universe.
Yes, true.
Although you are having a body,
Yes,
but your consciousness is I am God.
correct.
You may
So,
eat, you may drink, you may sleep, you may walk, you may talk.
correct.
Like a somnambulist, a
Yeah.
sleepwalker. He doesn't know
Yes.
what he's doing. So in the
Yes.
same way, a mazub kamil, he's known as a mazub kamil, a person
Yeah.
of the seventh plane, he doesn't know that he's doing all these things, but the body is existing, the universe is existing, but the mind is not existing.
Not existing.
But
Correct.
but when it comes back again for duty, then
Okay.
he gets what is known as a universal mind.
Okay.
Which means his universal mind contains all our limited mind. But that is only when if he's destined to come back in the sense, get back the realization of Tribhuvana, which means the mental, the subtle, and the gross world. And if he has duties to perform, then he gets back certain samskaras which are non-binding samskaras.
Okay.
Only then he can function.
So
Got it?
he's at a different plane altogether. That
No,
means.
he is on the seventh plane. He's one with God.
Correct.
He is
Correct.
he is an epitome of perfection. He is God personified.
So that means
Baba says
So that
worshiping
means
him and serving him is much better than worshiping and serving God in the Nirgun Nirakar state. You see,
okay.
so that is the highest stature. Sadguru.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine. Now clear. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, dear. Any more questions up to page 14? One minute. I know. I feel like repeating so that people it has to sink in. That here what Baba is trying to say. At one point, Baba said that natural light, which is the real I, which is the God, is in unnatural light, which means the spirit is in unnatural darkness, which is the murking mind, is in unnatural light, which is the body and the universe and all the experience. That means that same God is in everywhere. Eka Rama, we have done that. Number one, that is what he said. Then now here what Baba says is that in the sound sleep state, the spirit and the God or natural light, they are one. But here the spirit is now becoming the mind and experiencing the world and the body and all the other experiences of Maya, right? And therefore Baba says the spirit and the mind are linked. In other words, what Baba is trying to say is that in sound sleep state, when the mind merges with the spirit in sound sleep state, there is no realization. But if the same mind in the awake state merges with the spirit, then the body is there. Why? Because he is awake. The universe is there. Why? Because he is awake. But the mind is not there, then that is realization. Got it? I have repeated it often, very many times, just to make it very clear that God realization is nothing but the experience of, you can say, the nothingness consciously. The experience of, you can say, be awake in sound sleep state. There's a dichotomy. How can you be awake in God in sound sleep state But if you can be awake in sound sleep state, then that is God realization. So now we are moving further. I'll repeat the page 14, the last two lines. Thus the mind, which is the false I, egoism, becomes the spirit, and the spirit seeing self every second, the mind, the egoism, false I, which has now become the spirit, sees the self and says, I have seen God, I have realized the self. In other words, spirit was always seeing God. The mind, when I say mind, I mean the working mind, was always seeing the body and the universe. Anytime the mind becomes merged with the spirit and goes into unconsciousness, that is not realization. But here, what has happened is the mind in the awake state has merged with the spirit, and the body is there, and the universe is there. Therefore, it is realization. Then Baba goes on to say that since the spirit sees the self every second, and now that the merged, and now that the mind has become one with the spirit and has actually become the spirit, and therefore now the mind is seeing the self every moment, every second, and the mind is saying, I see God, I have realized God. Am I making sense? There's a lot of quietude
Yeah.
here. Am I making sense?
Yeah, yeah. Good.
Okay, I'll repeat this. I'll repeat this. See, I can hear some sound. Parvez, can you just mute your mic?
Yeah,
Some
sure.
traffic. Thank you, dear. We have seen before that the spirit sees the self every moment, and the mind sees the body and the universe every moment. They are two different things. Then we have seen that during wakefulness, the spirit actually becomes the mind and experiences the body and the universe. So far, so good. Then we have seen that during when you go to sleep, the mind merges with the spirit and experiences unconsciousness, and therefore no realization. Then we have seen that during the awake state, the now in the awake state, the mind has merged with the spirit and become one with the spirit. In fact, it has become the spirit, and therefore God realization. Then we are seeing that since the spirit was seeing God every moment, and now that the mind has become one with the spirit and has actually become the spirit, therefore now the mind now is seeing God every moment, and the mind is now declaring, I have seen God, I am one with God. Anything more? I don't know how. Am I clear about it? Anybody has anything to ask? No question. So shall we go ahead then? All right. Or shall I repeat? Very clear. Thanks. Okay, fine. I think it is very simple. I feel so tempted to see that all of us move together and none of us are left out, because now the spirit and the mind have become one. The mind has become one with the spirit, the mind has become the spirit, and therefore, what the spirit was seeing all the time, God, now the mind is seeing, and mind is saying, I see God and I have become one with God. Correct? Okay. Now we move on further. Thus, the mind, page number 15. Thus, the mind, that is the false I, egoism, when not the spirit, that is merged in the spirit, sees the body and the world. See, there's a little difficulty in understand when we say merge with the spirit and linked, and linked means they are two different things. Mind and spirit are two different things in the first place, although they are like two sides of the same coin, but they are linked. They are linked. They are merged. But in the second instance, they are delinked or unlinked. Why? Because link requires two things, one plus one linked. But when actually the mind is becoming the spirit, then the mind loses its identity as a mind, and it has become one with the spirit, and therefore it is not merged with the spirit. You can say it has become the spirit. So it is unlinked. Baba uses the word unlinked because there it is merged. I would not say merged, but becoming one. I am repeating this. Thus the mind, that is the false I, egoism, when not the spirit, that is merged in the spirit, sees the body and the world. And when the mind merged in the spirit,
and when the spirit merged in the
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And when the spirit that is merged in the spirit, go ahead, next page, sees the self. See, now it reads a little confusing, but it is exactly what I have told you, that as long as the mind was linked with the spirit was seeing the self, and the mind was seeing the universe and the body. The moment the mind has become the spirit, then the mind is seeing what the spirit was seeing. Now the mind is not seeing the body and the universe, although the body and the universe are there. He is not seeing that. His experience is, I am God. Simple. Now this may is worded in such a way, so I'm trying to make it a little easy. Okay, I'll read this again. And when the spirit is merged in the spirit is bracket, sees the self. Thus, the mind, when becomes the spirit, that is when the mind becomes the nothingness or the natural darkness, which is universal, it being the astitva of universal light, is universal Satpurusha. Okay. Now what Baba is saying is that now we have seen this much, that unnatural light is spirit. We have also seen that spirit is sakala. Sakala means all pervading, everywhere, in each nook and corner, right? And therefore,
natural darkness.
I'm talking about natural darkness only.
Unnatural.
No, if I said unnatural, I'm sorry. I meant natural darkness. Natural darkness is spirit. And we have said that spirit is everywhere, sakala, all pervading, right? And now the mind has become the spirit. And therefore this mind is also all pervading. And therefore he is called, Baba uses the word Satpurush. He has become a Satpurush. Satpurush means a Purush who has become one with the Sat. Sat means the truth. He has become one with the truth. So he is a truth realized Purush. That means God realized man. And therefore, and when the mind is limited, ordinary being, and thus the limited mind, that is the limited egoism, now becomes the unlimited, that is universal I, egoism, and says, I am everywhere. I'll repeat. Try to be with me. Again and again, we are repeating the same thing, but that doesn't matter. Now, what has happened? In the awake state, mind has become one with the spirit. Or you can talk in this terminology that the mind has now become the spirit. In the awake state. In the awake state means what? The body is there, the universe is there. The mind has become one, or rather the mind has become the spirit. Now, what was the attributes of the spirit? What were the attributes? One of them is all pervading, sakala, everywhere. Spirit is everywhere. So now the mind also is everywhere. And therefore, he has now got what Baba calls, he is now become a Satpurusha. He has become a Satpurusha. Now, when the mind was limited, when the mind was having false, limited egoism, at that time, the mind could not say that I am everywhere. It was limited, it was contained, it was finite. But now, the same mind which was the false I, has now become the, Baba calls it, here Baba calls it the unlimited or the universal I. The same false finite I has now transformed itself into the unlimited or the universal I or the universal egoism, and says, I am everywhere. The mind is saying, I am everywhere. Okay.
Natural life मध्ये लागू कर सके.
Yeah, we'll have to write that. Yeah.
Right, huh?
So, in other words, now, in the
Sorry,
natural darkness,
can you just, sorry, the last paragraph, can you read it as one, page 16?
can you speak a little loudly, please?
Can you please read the last paragraph as one, page 16, and then going into the next one?
Okay.
I
The
didn't
last,
understand that part,
I'll read
please.
the whole paragraph.
Yes, please.
And thus, the limited mind. Limited mind means what? The working mind, the false I, the egoism, the unnatural darkness. Simple. Thus, the limited mind, that is the limited egoism, now becomes the unlimited, that is universal I bracket, universal egoism, and says, I am everywhere. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. Next page, it goes on to the next page. Am I making myself clear?
So
The
this you
same,
could,
now what, that is why Baba says in other discourses that the ego is the real thing. Ego is not false. The mind is false, and therefore the ego is never annihilated. The ego is never extinguished. The ego is transformed from the finite, limited, separative, individualized, egocentric, self-centric I to the infinite, universal, unlimited I. It is transformed. The ego undergoes a transformation when the mind in the awake state merges with the spirit, and just as the spirit was seeing God everywhere, now the mind is seeing God everywhere and realizes and says, I see God, I am one with God. He becomes a Satpurush from a Shiv Atma, from a Jiv Atma, he becomes a Shiv Atma, he becomes a Satpurush, and he declares the state of Aham Brahmasmi. Is it clear now, or any more explanations required here? Clear. Okay, so now we are going on to yeah, everywhere Sakala, he says Sakala, and then he says, Aham Brahmasmi. Okay, Anal Haq. Here the word is written in Gujarati is Anal Haq. Anal Haq is the same as I am that, I am God, whatever. Right? Anal Haq, you can read it. And then he says, Aham Brahmasmi, means I am Brahman. Now Baba goes on to say, thus the false I, when working, is limited. Barabar? When the mind or the false I or the limited egoism is there, it is limited. And when the same, I'm just using extra words, the same false I, when stopped, that means when the mind is stopped, it becomes universal, it becomes infinite, it becomes unlimited, it becomes universal. That is, the mind, when working, feels I am this body only. When the mind is working, when I refer to I, when I am referring to I, what do I refer to? I am this body. So when the mind is working, feels I am this body only. I cannot look at Soumya and say I am you. No, because my I is limited to my body. So when the mind is working, Baba says, I am this body only. And when stopped, that means when the mind is stopped, feels I am unlimited. That means the I, which was the small I, has now become the universal, infinite, unlimited I, when my experience is that I am not just this body, but everyone and everything is me. I am everyone and everything. That is the state of God realization. Up to here, any question, because it spills over the next page. So any question here? I'm repeating, the mind, when completely annulled, annihilated, shattered, destroyed, what happens? It merges and becomes one with the spirit. When the mind becomes the spirit, all the attributes of the spirit, the mind gathers. What were the attributes? It sees God each and every moment. What was the other attribute? It was all pervading. It was everywhere, unlimited, infinite, right? So the mind gains those attributes of the spirit, because now the mind is demolished, totally extinguished, totally annihilated, and has become the spirit. So now that particular mind, which was the limited, false, separative I, is now experiencing the unlimited or the universal or the infinite I, and is declaring Anal Haq, or I am God state, or Aham Brahmasmi state. That is one thing. Then Baba goes on to say that when the I was false, or the mind was working, the I was identified with this body only. But now, when the mind is not working, it has stopped, it has totally been annihilated, it has become the spirit, then the I becomes universal or infinite. So the I or the ego is now transformed from the limited to the unlimited. The mind is not transformed, the mind is annihilated. Total, this totally annihilated, finished. But the I, which we call as the ego, has become from the finite, limited, separative ego, is now transformed into unlimited, universal, infinite ego. But the ego remains, and the ego is the real thing. That's what we are trying to harp into, that ego is not wrong, it is not false. Only the false I is wrong, but ego is the real thing. Any questions on that? Otherwise, I'll go on further.
Yeah, one question. Is it a given that the spirit sees God all the time, regardless of the states? It doesn't need any state to see God, the spirit.
The spirit sees God all the time, just as the mind sees the body and the universe all the time. And when we
Yeah.
say mind, obviously we are talking about the working mind.
Working mind, which has to be necessarily the awake state,
Yes, correct. No,
not in
not
deep state.
necessarily.
Or dream
It can,
state, let's say.
it can be dream state also, yes.
Dream state also.
Working state.
Because in the dream state we are using the subtle senses, but the
Yes.
mind is functioning. It's
Correct.
only in the sound sleep state that the mind is totally not functioning.
So
Right?
the spirit
Cyrus,
is always in contact or touch with God. Means
You
where,
mean the
where does
spirit?
this concept of
Yes.
lost soul come
Yes.
in then?
In fact, some chapters before we saw that God actually becomes the spirit, actually becomes the mind, and actually becomes the universe, and God is also in all these things and
Correct.
also beyond all these things. Tribhuvan se nyara means, it is in our prayers also we say that you are in this and that and that, and you are also beyond everyone and everything. Right?
Cyrus,
Yes, Avan.
here the ego will be equivalent to Atma, Buddhi, and Manas.
No, no, no. I don't know, because I don't know though. I'm not familiar with these
Because you
terminology.
said the mind is annihilated and only the ego remains.
No, when you
The,
say manas, you are talking about mind, isn't it?
huh.
Because the mind is not there at all. The mind is totally annihilated, totally shattered. There is no manas at all. Whereas
Achha.
consciousness is there. but there is no mind. The Chetna is there, but the mind is not there. Because when the moment mind is there, even up to the sixth plane of consciousness, as per God speaks, those who are doing God speaks, up to the sixth plane of consciousness, the mind remains. So that is manas is there, the mind is there, but only
But that mind is like a causal body, causal mind, where
irrespective of
Karan
whether
Sharir je kahiye the.
I agree with you, but still the mind is there.
Okay.
Still the mind is there. Only when the mind is totally annihilated, totally zero, only then it merges or becomes one with the spirit, and only then it experiences the state of Analhak or Aham Brahmasmi.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Can
you.
you discuss or let's say explain this in the context of what we call lost souls?
Lost.
What happens to their spirit and the connection with God in case of lost souls?
Which lost?
Logged.
Yeah, LOST, lost.
Lost souls.
I don't know what is lost soul, because no soul can be lost. It is not a lost and found property. I really don't know what is the meaning of lost. Can you explain what you mean by lost soul? Because
Exactly.
none
So
of the
let me
souls can be
come
lost.
in. I mean, it could be in theosophy or wherever. What they say, lost souls, probably they've kind of lost the direction, the path, and everything.
Somebody who is derailed from the
Derailed,
proper
right?
way of
Correct.
living. Yeah, but that is nothing.
And they say that their connection to the Supreme Being is severed for a long time, eons and eons of years.
Okay.
So I'm just
then
thinking
see,
whether in that case the spirit doesn't see God. Is that the?
No.
I mean, that was
lost. If it is lost, see, 1 minute, let me understand. If you say that some people have done such terrible deeds that you are nomenclating them, putting a chappa that these are lost souls, they are doomed till eternity, there is no hope for them. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay. Then Baba says that nobody is so lost. These are not the exact words. So as nobody is so depraved, so as never to stand up again and reach the goal, because the whole scheme of things is such that everyone and everything will eventually experience infinite bliss, will eventually experience the I am God state. I keep repeating this beautiful statement of Baba, that there is no creature that is not destined for the supreme goal, as there is no river that is not winding its way to the sea. In other words, each and every one and each and everything in creation will finally reach the supreme goal. It's only a matter of time, a question of time. And for Baba, time does not exist. You may say for millions of years a soul is depraved, but even that soul has the opportunity and the chance to rise up and reach the goal. So there is no such thing as lost soul. And even if he is a lost soul, the spirit of that lost soul definitely sees God each and every moment. The spirit. But the lost soul does not know that, for a simple reason that when the spirit is functioning, he is in an unconscious. When the mind and spirits are merged, you get into unconsciousness. You see, but definitely any moment when that lost soul is going into a sound sleep state, he is one with God in the beyond state of God. Got me, Rakesh?
Cyrus?
Yes, Sam.
I would like to ask a question like a lost soul.
Yes, please.
We're talking about all these things. Where does all this apply to when one just merges into Baba? Like there's a theory, when we take his name, when breathing our last, we just merge in him. So
Correct.
then all these Mattaputi, does it apply to us? No.
Yes, of course. See, according to my limited understanding of things, what is the meaning of mukti or merging into Baba means that particular soul is freed from the rounds of births and deaths, that is
Right.
reincarnation, and
Hmm.
that particular soul experiences infinite bliss eternally. That
Right.
means it merges, that means
Hmm.
it does experience oneness with God. It does.
Yeah. But
Huh?
then all this, does it reach Aham Brahmasmi stage and all that? No.
No, it does not reach the Aham Brahmasmi state.
Because that is the seventh plane and all that,
Question.
ne?
I tell you, good question. Why? Because Aham Brahmasmi state or Analhak state is to be achieved in the human form, having the body and
Hmm.
having the universe. But this, what we call as Najat Mukti or ordinary Mukti, where there is the experience of only infinite bliss, is to be achieved after the body is dropped.
Hmm.
So you won't experience the infinite power and the infinite
Right.
knowledge, but you will definitely, you and I, hopefully, will definitely experience infinite bliss.
So this is all for people on the seventh plane and this, that, and the other. This Aham Brahmasmi and all that.
Those who actually either become mazubs or
Huh.
saliks or kutubs, basically
Okay.
for them, and the rest of the so-called humanity, I suppose their destiny is to merge with God, merge with Baba, and enjoy infinite bliss eternally.
Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. But I don't agree with you, Sam, about the lost soul. I don't, because Baba has already found you and is really making you work for him, so you are not lost at all. Okay.
I'm grateful.
Okay,
I'm
grateful.
ever so
We all
grateful.
are.
Eternally grateful.
We all are. Yes. Yeah. Eternally and internally.
Externally also.
Okay. Excellent.
Jai Baba.
Okay.
Jai
I
Baba,
think we were
Cyrus.
ready.
Jai Baba.
And if anybody has, yeah, 1 minute. We won't do anything more because I think it seems to me from the dumb, what is silence, that I don't know whether you are able to get me or not. Anyway, go ahead, Mer Kripa.
Just that liberation, no? The one who becomes one with Baba,
Yes.
liberated, freed from the births and deaths. No? So they will get infinite bliss, but they will not get infinite knowledge.
No.
And power.
And power.
So they power they will not get, but knowledge also they will never get.
No. No. So
Only
you aim
food.
to become a perfect master, then you will get all the three. I am happy with infinite bliss only, enough for me. Why? See, because once you drop, the question is, once you drop the body, there is no use of infinite knowledge and infinite power. The infinite knowledge and infinite power can be used by Sadgurus when they are in the body for the benefit of creation. But
Right.
once we have dropped the body, once even the Sadguru drops the body, he does not use his infinite power and infinite knowledge. He only experiences his infinite bliss. Got it?
Right. Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Jai
you.
Baba.
Sure.
Thank you, Jai Baba. Anybody else?
May I? Yeah, may I?
Yeah. Hi, this is Ram Nori.
Yes, please, Ram.
So I'm not too sure about these lost souls at all. Didn't Baba say after 8.4 million cycles, eventually you just, attain, after that is the end, right?
No, 1 minute. I'm not able to catch you. Sorry, Ram.
No. What Baba said after 8.4 million cycles of birth, and
Okay.
so you become one with the God. Not
Yes.
God realized. I mean, the birth cycles end after
Okay.
8.4 million.
Okay.
84 lakhs or whatever. And it's
Whatever,
86. Yeah. So that's so. I don't know what this lost soul is.
No, that's what
there's
I said.
nothing.
I myself don't know. But if
Yeah.
at all there is any mention of lost soul, it means somebody who is so depraved, somebody who has done such wrong things and constantly keeps on doing wrong things. We call that particular soul a lost soul. But according to Baba, who is most merciful and benevolent, nobody
Yeah.
is lost forever.
Yeah.
We are all lost souls for a while, and then we come on the trek. So I am sure the so-called lost souls will also sometime come on trek, and then it would make its journey towards Baba.
Yeah.
I think, in fact, he has
Okay.
come for these lost souls.
Exactly.
Actually.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, correct.
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
Parvez
correct,
has a
correct,
question.
correct,
May
correct,
Parvez.
correct.
can I ask?
I can't hear anybody.
Yeah, can I?
Yes, of course.
Parvez Yabana. Yeah.
Yes, Parvez.
See, this God realization, Majub and all that is only after you reach the level of 6th or 7th plane.
Not 6, 7.
Am I right? Seven.
7.
Okay. Now, I don't know in which plane that we are, or basically I am, or whosoever, we are human beings. Because we have not had annihilated our mind as such, we still have wants and desires. And it'll take us years and years to reach plane 5 also, or 6 also, or 7 also.
Okay.
Does the God realization happen at this stage, at the age of 5, when you're on the 5th plane, or it happens only when you're on the 6th or the 7th
Only
plane?
on the 7th plane. Sam Patel was fortunate to fly Air India plane. That much I know.
On the aeroplane. I was on the aeroplane, yes.
Yeah, aeroplane.
Supersonic, okay, I understand.
There is some, let us clarify. Although we have exceeded time, it doesn't matter.
No, my point is, if I don't have any wants and desires and my sanskars are equal, and I'm still on the plane 4 or so.
No, it can't be. If I am repeating, all your samskaras are finished, quantitatively and qualitatively, they are balanced, then irrespective of whether you are on the plane or you are in the train, you will get God realization.
Okay. So
but it is well nigh impossible for us on our own, with our own efforts, to balance out our samskaras quantitatively and qualitatively. Impossible, Baba says.
But when just before death, if you take Baba's name, as he says,
yes,
you merge with him, or you go directly to him.
Yes,
now, when you go directly to him, that is only bliss. That is not God realization.
That is not God realization. That is called Najat Mukti or Moksha.
So we are still floating around.
You don't know to come back again. In which you experience infinite bliss eternally.
But you don't become that Mazrub and all that stuff.
No.
That is only for the involution.
So you have to pass to that page.
That is only for the involution. We are not in the involution.
See, according to me, we need not go so much into the planes and the samskaras. All we need to do is to love Baba in the most natural way, to keep him our constant companion, and beseech him to help us to remember him when we breathe our last. That is our path. All these plain mazub, I don't know, I don't understand, and Baba has never encouraged us to do all these things. No amount of spiritual, Baba calls gymnastics. There is no need for all these things during the Autaric period. Baba says during the Autaric period, what is I repeat the twice, the most important thing is to keep him constant companion, to love him the most above everything else, and try to remember him as best as we can, and most importantly, to remember when we breathe our last. Beyond that, let all these planes and paths and second plane, third plane, we are not concerned with any of these things. Right?
Agree. Very simple. Absolutely.
Very simple. Baba is very, very simple. Anybody else has any questions, or then we'll call it a day. We have finished up to page 16. I will definitely, as per my habit, I will try to wrap up again and again the same thing, because it is, in my understanding, it is really, really very simple. Once you follow the thread, it is so simple. Oh, so simple. It's like that. But if you lose one track, like a treasure hunt, that the what do you call it? The markers are given, or some kind of hints are given. Go this, do that. If you miss one, then you find it very difficult. That's why I don't mind repeating it 100 times, same thing over and over again, so that none of us should back out and say, oh, I lost, I lost. Nobody loses. I'm saying lost this pleasure of running the game of in God's hand that way. Anybody has any questions to ask? Anything to share? Nothing. So we call it a day. We call Jai Baba. See you tomorrow, everybody. Jai Baba. Avatar Meher Baba.
Jai Baba.